Hey, in this lesson, we're going to be looking at adding images to our HTML code. So you know what they say, an image is worth 1,000 words, and we are going to show you how easy it is to add an image to the page. So first of all, let's open up the editor, and we're going to go into the editor, select where we want our image to appear on the page. So I'm going to put it between the navigation and the other paragraph. So between the content paragraph, I'm going to have an image appearing right at the top in this paragraph. So setting up the image tags, it's img for the tag, and this is a self-closing tag, and similar to what we just saw with the anchor text, that we rely on the attributes of the element in order to provide the functionality. We need to provide a source for the image, and this attribute is called src, so short for source. Then you do the equal sign and you can locate where the image is located. If the image is local on your system, so I have an image here within the same file directory as my index file, so I'm going to simply select the image and links out to the image. When I refresh the page, there's my image. So we do have some properties that we can set up, and one of the things that you do or should be adding into the images for accessibility reasons is the alt attribute. So it provides an alternative text for the image, and it's not something that can be seen unless the image for whatever reason doesn't show up, and then it will show the text instead of the image. And this is also used for screen readers. So the attribute name is alt, and this is where you would put a description of the image. So it should be something that basic, a few words or a sentence that describes what the image is about. And this will show only if the image cannot be found. So if I rename this image and if I refresh it and the image can't be found, then it's going to show the alt text. So there's the logo Discovery VIP, and that's showing instead of the image. You can also link to images on the web, and these we would be using the absolute path. So that would include the HTTP, wherever the website is located. So there's a number of resources online, and one of them that I commonly use is placeholder.com. So when you are designing your website, you might not have the images handy, so you want to have these placeholder images and within the dummy text to get you to have a good feel for what the website is actually going to look like. So this is one of those resources that is super useful. So you can set up the picture, the image dimensions, and this also gives you a sample of how you can include a hyperlink with the image, and we'll show you that within the code as well. Setting the size of the image. So the first one is if you want a 150 by 150, you do /150. There's also different file formats, and these are the typical image format extensions that you're going to encounter. So there's GIFs, there's PNGs, and there's JPEGs and JPEGs for JPEGs. So there's two different types of JPEGs that you can encounter for web images. And all of these get read by the browser, and the browser is able to determine what the image looks like. You can also, within here, you can set a custom text. So let's grab the content and go back into our HTML code. And this time we're going to add an image within the text content. So select the space where you want to place the image. So I want to place it just in here in front of the word NAM. Add in the image tag, specify the source. And because this is going to be an absolute source, so we're linking out to the source, and we've got to remove out that excess. And then close off the quotes. So you can do single or double quotes. It doesn't matter for the path to the image. And then close off the image tag, refresh it, and that's going to give us the image on the page. So there's also different ways to resize the images. So sometimes you might have a large image and you want to resize the size of the image. And this is most commonly done with styling now. Previously with the image tags, you do have an option for width and height attributes. So you can use these as well, and this is within a pixel width and height. So if you want to keep the dimensions the same, you can do width of 100. So that will resize and keep the proportions the same. If you update the height, you can also set that, and that's going to change the proportions. So it's no longer going to be in proportion. So this is one way of doing it, and you might find this still being done this way within the attributes, but now more commonly we use the style. So this is the same as CSS. And when you find out more and we learn more about CSS in the upcoming section, then you're going to become more familiar with what's possible. But for now, we'll just do a quick overview where you can set the width and the height of an element. So I'm going to set the width of this element to be 300 pixels, refresh it, so it's 300. If I resize it back down to 100 pixels, notice that the dimensions stay the same, and you can separate out and you can add in as many properties as you like. So setting in the height, and I'll set the height to 50 pixels. And there's also different types of units that you can use. So right now my image, I've forced the dimensions 100 by 50, so it's squished the image. And this is something you also have to watch out for when you do have images, especially if you have images with text. You don't want to play around too much with forcing the sizing of these images, because the text will become pixelated and it'll be hard to read. Also, make sure that you do add in those alt tags. And then, of course, with more styling, there's more you can do with the images, where you could set the different positions as well as create them in line with your text. And that's all done with cascading style sheets with CSS. So now it's up to you. Go ahead, find some images either on your computer, move them in the same folder directory as your index file, or link out to a web image that's contained online, and you can be ready to move on to the next step.